Hey guys, today I'm going to walk you through the process of setting up your Canon 1DX Mark III for wireless transfer using FTP. Now, if you haven't watched our other wireless workflow video, go back and watch that first. We've included it in the link below. Now, in this video, I'm only going to walk you through what you need to do in camera to connect to FTP via PhotoShelter. If you haven't set up your PhotoShelter account for FTP transfer, you can either watch our video on how to do that in the link below or read the instructions that are in the PDF that we've also attached. You don't need to use PhotoShelter, it's just the FTP site that we use. Feel free to put your own FTP server in there. Now, before we begin, you need to know that the menu structure has changed for the 1DX Mark III. Big time. You now set up your Wi-Fi network connections, which are called COM settings, and destinations, which are called function settings, in two different menus, and they each have 25 slots allotted to presets. To actually use the system, you need to pair a connection and a destination together in the new connection settings menu, which has 20 preset configurations. I recommend that you first set up your network settings and destinations manually, then you can pair them up together in the connection settings menu with the change from list feature. That will allow you to choose your settings off of lists versus having to run the setup wizard for each configuration. So for this first part, we're going to set up the COM settings menu. So go ahead and go into the purple menu and network settings and go ahead and change that to enable. Once you've done enable, go ahead and drop down to manual settings and then COM settings. I've already got a bunch of presets in here, so we're going to drop down to the last preset. If it hasn't been set up, it's going to say unspecified. So go ahead and choose unspecified, whichever one you want, and then create with wizard. We're going to go ahead and configure it online. In this menu, go ahead and select WFT if you're going to be using the external WFT E9H wireless transmitter. But select wired if you're going to be connecting via an Ethernet cable, and select Wi-Fi if you're just going to be using the internal wireless transmitter on the 1DX Mark III. Now let's go ahead and select the wireless network. Go ahead and select WFT. Now what the camera is doing, it's looking for a network. You must be using a network that does not have a splash page. Splash pages often require authentication or acceptance of terms before a user can use the network. These cameras, they can't use those networks. They can't deal with a splash page. Also, some of our on-campus venues provide public Wi-Fi networks. In venues with poor Wi-Fi coverage, we'll sometimes set up our own Wi-Fi networks, which means that we bring our own router and plug them into an Ethernet port. We also use portable hotspots or even a smartphone as our hotspot when necessary. For open networks that don't have a password, you can just go ahead and skip the next step. But for networks with security, enter the password for your wireless network. I'm going to go ahead and choose my iPhone hotspot and enter the password. Once you've entered the password, hit menu and OK. Now on IP address settings, go ahead and click auto setting. On TCP IPv6, go ahead and hit disable. And there you go. That's all it took to set up that transmitter. You'll then get a message saying communication saved to whichever slot you chose. If you hit menu, the COM setting menu will now allow you to edit, delete, or confirm these settings. Hit the menu button twice to go back to manual settings. For the second part of the process, we're going to go ahead and set up the function settings. Once again, you have 25 different slots where you can save your preset functions. I'm going to go ahead and choose this empty slot, number 25, and create with wizard, FTP transfer, FTP, and then in address setting, I'm going to have to enter the address of my FTP server. If you're using PhotoShelter, it's really simple. It's ftp.photoshelter.com. Once you've entered the server name, go ahead and hit the menu button. Here, PhotoShelter wants us to put port 21, but your FTP site may be different. Go ahead and find out what port they would like you to use and hit OK. Here, I'm going to go ahead and enable passive mode, hit OK, but I'm going to disable proxy server. For login method, we need to switch down to login password. And here we need to enter the login name that we created on PhotoShelter or the login name that's listed on your FTP site. Once you've entered the name, go ahead and hit menu and OK. Then you need to enter that password that you created on PhotoShelter or on your FTP site. Once you've entered that password, go ahead and menu and OK. Then select root folder. And there you go. Now that function has been saved. When you hit menu, you can go back into that function setting menu, and by clicking on that selected function, you can change, delete, or confirm the settings. Now we're going to go ahead and hit the menu button 4 times to go all the way back to the beginning to the network settings. This is the final part. We need to connect that COM setting and that function setting into one menu. So go to network settings and go to connection settings. Here you have 20 presets that you can use, and I'm going to choose this unspecified, which means that it hasn't been set up yet. And instead of hitting create with wizard, this is where you want to create from list, which is why we did the presets. I'm actually going to make a setting name, and I'm going to call it iPhone. But you can call it whatever you need to. Just make sure that it's something that will distinguish that setting from everything else. And then go down to function setting and choose, I'm going to choose mode 25, that one I had preset, and then communication setting, or COM setting, and I'm going to choose my iPhone. So here you have both your communication setting and your function setting. What you need to do is hit the menu button once, and then turn up to the connect button and hit connect and OK. So now your camera is going to attempt to connect to the Wi-Fi network and the FTP site. On the back of your camera, if you have a solid green light, it will let you know you are connected. Go ahead and go into your network settings and then go into connection options settings. There's a couple things we need to change here. First of all, make sure our FTP transfer settings, that automatic transfer is disabled. You don't want to send every single photo you take. Everybody will know how bad you are. You also want to make sure that transfer with set is enabled. That makes it so that it shows the set button on the back of your LCD screen. It's always best to shoot in RAW plus JPEG and send only the JPEG files. Don't try and send the RAW files because it will take forever to upload, it'll bog down your network, and it just won't work. You could set your camera up to send just the JPEG by going to this Wi-Fi settings menu, then choose transfer type and size, and RAW plus JPEG, and select JPEG only. So go ahead and hit menu, exit that menu, and let's take a test shot with our camera. We're going to show Ryan and Maddie that look real excited to have their picture taken. Not that excited. And now when I bring the photo up on the back of my camera, you can see this box that has set next to it. All you need to do is hit the set button on the back of your control dial, and it's going to show you that it's transferring the file via FTP. The camera will attempt to send the image, and the screen will say transferring, and the green land light will flash while the image is being transferred. Once that file is all the way sent, the set box will have a circle inside the box. And there you go. The image is now fully transferred to the FTP site. I'm going to go ahead and check my FileFlow app, and when I look at it, there it is. There's the photo that I just sent via FTP. So there's one more feature that's really cool, and honestly not a lot of people talk about. The 1DX Mark III allows you to FTP video clips. I think that's pretty cool, so I'm going to show you how to do it. So I'm going to switch the camera over to video mode and take a quick clip of Ryan and Maddie loving their life as videographers. Here we go, guys. Wave at the camera. Oh, that's wonderful. Perfect. Good enough for what we need. So there's a little bit of a quirk here. While you're in video mode, it will not allow you to FTP video files. So you need to switch your camera back to camera mode, and then you need to go in your network menu down to image transfer. Click on that, and image select transfer, and then FTP transfer. And then you need to go up to the select image, and you actually have to select that video file that you want to send. So we're going to click on that, and there it is. You can touch this on the LCD screen in that square, or just hit the set button and rotate the dial till a check mark shows up. Once you've done that, hit menu and hit the transfer button there at the bottom. Start transfer, okay. And then the camera will go ahead and connect to your wireless hotspot and attempt to send that video file. Now, being that it's a video file, it's going to take a little bit longer than you're used to. You may want to have your video settings very compressed so they're smaller files. And there you go. It's done. It's on the FTP server. Let's go ahead and look at FileFlow. And there's the video file. The best thing you can do is connect your camera to Ethernet, and then it's really easy to send those files quickly. This is a feature that I think people really need to look into using more because it's pretty quick to be able to send these video files through FTP. And that's it. You're set up to send files via FTP. Let us know if you have any questions in the comments below, and we'll see you on the sidelines.